Alrighty. Okay. Welcome to NycosRPG. I'm Game Master Jay or Jonathan, and I am your host. And I want to take some time in this particular episode to talk about what is a role-play game. I understand that there are a lot of people that are in this channel right now that are role-play gamers and understand completely what I'm going to be talking about. But there are many of you that may not be familiar with what a role-play game is or what this whole shenanigan is about, so to speak. We're going to be talking about several different categories of things. I'm going to be talking about how role-playing evolved and developed and came to be what it is today. I'm going to talk about the kind of things that would cause you to have appeal for role-playing games. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why right now role-playing games are really the place to be, both in culture and in entertainment. So as we get going, I want to make sure that you know that if you like what you see on this channel, that you go ahead and pop down and like this this video. Also make sure you subscribe so you won't miss out on any of our new content, and make sure you leave a comment if there's anything that you would like to see me talk about in reference to role-play games. So, a little bit about myself, just real quickly. I am the Game Master Jay, also known as Jonathan Albin, and I've been a Game Master for right on 50 years. I know there are people that wonder about when the game actually was published, which was in 1974-75. And I learned how to play it at some point thereabouts. I was 11 years old, so I don't remember precisely what month I started, but I've been game mastering nonstop for the majority of that time. There were some periods of time where I didn't game master at all, and then there were the years during COVID where I was running more than 9 sessions a week. It was 9 sessions a week plus 1 or 2 pro sessions at people's homes that didn't actually count in that official count. But overall, it's been an average of at least once a week for 48 plus years, so it's been a while. With that, I've got some considerable experience in being a game master and storyteller, and I have taught better than 10,000 players how to play role-play games. So I think I might have a little bit of experience in this. So let's go to the first point of this question, and that is, what is a role-playing game? Well, anybody who's watching this channel has played a role-play game. I guarantee it, at some point in your life, you took on a role, whether it be as simple as you were the banker in a game of Monopoly, which is a form of role-play, especially if you played it up that you were in control of all the money and making sure who got paid and all of that. So that was a role. But also, even when we consider more free-form play, when we were, I'm going to sound really old here. Back in my day, when we had to run outside and play, we created our own environments for engaging. And many times that was literally role play. So whether you were, quote, playing house and doing the things that you would do in your own home, and going to work and role playing what it was like to be in different kinds of careers and occupations, or if you went to the idea of playing astronauts in space and new discoveries, or you played cops and robbers, or cowboys and Indians. I know that's don't hate on me for using that phrase. It's an older term, but I know it's now settlers and Native Americans, which of course is a radically different environment now. But the idea is that we would take on a role and play out a persona, and they do the actions of that person or that character in the game for the entertainment of ourselves and of the others in the game. So really, those playground antics are what role-playing is. The only difference is that a storyteller is administering the details and determining, yes, indeed, you did shoot Tommy behind a rock, or no, you didn't make it across the lava, you actually touched your toe, so you're going to take a penalty for doing the boiling hot lava game, or whatever. The point is that it's still play. And role playing, in essence, is taking on a role of someone else and then going through the, if nothing else, the intellectual ideas of what that person would do in the situations in which you find yourselves. The concept of an adventuring party, therefore, would be the group of you that were playing collaboratively or even competitively with each other in the game event, and those of you that work together would be the party, if you will. And so the idea of playing in a playground is not too different from what we're talking about here in terms of what role play games are. Now, there are simplistic ones that are, beer and pretzels, get into the action quick, dirty, kind of just roll with the flow. Many of them are combat oriented, which means you're fighting monsters and brigands and dragons and whatever. The environment is therefore a play environment against a series of scenarios or objectives, and that is where the storyteller or game master or dungeon master or there's 100 other titles for it, but the administrator of the game. In the case of the NycosRPG, we're considered to be directors because as a director, you're impartial, you're setting the scene, you're giving the parameters for the scene, and then you're administering how that scene plays out, allowing the players, of course, their agency to improvise the rules and such. Now, role-playing games, therefore, appeal to a lot of different people, and if you've never formally played in a role-play game, I highly encourage you to experience it, even if only for a short period of time, to get an idea for what about its nature and how they work, because the idea or the concept of developing a paradigm or an understanding of how other people think is kind of useful in many other ways in terms of life, because we learn how better to negotiate, how better to communicate, and to share information with others. Now, what kind of people are drawn to role-playing? By very nature, the very concept of it being called a role-play game means it's going to draw people or appeal to people who are actors or are dramatic or are excitable when dealing with other people and speaking in front of people and stuff. And so therefore, actors are a great proportion of those who are involved with role-play games. We like to take on the persona of another. We like to affect other voices, other possible personality, demeanor, what's the word I want to use here? The affectations and the attributions of another person. Big kids, people that don't want to grow up. I mean, there was for a long time a retail chain called Toys R Us, and one of their lines in their advertising was, "I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid." And I'm going to tell you that the idea of being a big kid is important because play is an integral part of maintaining youthfulness. If we don't want to be perceived as growing old, then we need to remain playful. The idea of interacting and engaging in a fun or playful way means that we have automatically a bunch of assumptions we make about other people. We assume that the people around us are also playful. We become more vulnerable to them because we're willing to just get out there and play. And that's really an essential part of what appeal there is in role playing, because you are going to be part of something and you're going to be playing together. And it's not it doesn't fall necessarily into the sportsman-like characteristic that many have kind of fomented in today's playing environment. But whether it be a sporting event or war games, or even advanced or what they call crunchy board games, there is a competitive aspect. But big kids appreciate, win or lose, the engagement and the interaction of the game in the first place. I just realized I'm branding the crap out of me with my hat being that. I'll turn my hat around. So the next kind of players that are that role play appeals to are the dreamers, and these are people that have perhaps a little bit of wish fulfillment in their life. They would like to be able to do things physically that they are not able to. I have a very good friend who his name is Scott, and he is paraplegic, which means he physically cannot walk. He's in a chair and all of that, and so he's limited. But in a role-playing game, he can literally get up and run. He can actually experience, at least vicariously and at least viscerally through role play, those things that he could never do in this world and that. Furthermore, this idea of the dreamer is also someone that would like to have what they do in the world matter. And a role-play game really gives an opportunity for you as a player to make a difference, to save a town and knock down the monster or drive away the villains or whatever. You're actually changing the world by your actions, and by doing such a dramatic and expansive and realistic event, you create virtual memories, if you will, actual memories of how you accomplish those things, even though it's just in a game. But the point again, role-playing games therefore incorporate the actor in all of us, the big kid in all of us, and the dreamer, the hopeful one, the optimistic one that wants to accomplish, brings them all in together. Now, the advent of online role-play groups that you can watch their experiences and things, that has caused there to be quite a rise in the idea of being cool again. And the idea here is that when you are in a role-playing game, you are part of something bigger than you. You're able to step into a role that you would not normally occupy, and therefore do things in the game that change the world, lift yourself into places that you've never been before, and allow you to take risks in a fundamentally risk-free environment. I mean, with taking on a role in a game, of course, there's the possibility of physical injury. There's a possibility of even death in game, but that is never a threat to the player. That's simply something as a side mechanic. If you've played a game of Risk, or you've played even chess and you've lost, that is it's a debilitating thing, but simply knowing that happens means you can start over and put the pieces back to the table and give it another go. The idea of a role-playing game, therefore, is that we can live through these lives and do these dangerous things and run the risks that we would never take in reality, and yet get the experience and the visceral feelings of success or failure from them. So this video has only been intended to talk a little bit about what a role-playing game is, and you notice I have not done any genre-specific things. If you would like to know more information about role-play games and how you can get involved, make sure you leave a comment below, and you can contact me directly through NycosRPG, my website, and NycosRPG.com. And I will do what I can to help to facilitate getting you into a games group. By the way, I just recently started on a new site called Starting.Games. I'm gonna put the link down below and tell you how to get involved with that. You can actually become involved in one of the game sessions that I'm running. They're listed there. I'm going to be adding additional ones as well, but you can participate directly through those. If you like what I'm doing and wish to support it, I do have a Patreon account, and we'd greatly appreciate any of your support at that. Patreon.com/Nykos, NYCOS is where you go for that. And a benefit to that is that we do have sessions that are Patreon only, and there's also additional private information we provide, particularly targeted information for our sponsors and advocates through the Patreon program. In the meantime, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you with the next installation. This has been Jonathan Albin, NycosRPG, and also Game Master J, and I hope to see you soon at the table. Thank you very much, and see you next time.